Cuban people to continue this struggle until they are liberated. And we wanted to say that they have been in prison for 13 years now. And that is an injustice that has to end now. And the people of the Bahamas has a say in that, joining the rest of the world in this plea to President Obama. Thank you very much.
For Mr. Morley, when did your organizations first become aware of the Cuban Five, and what propelled you, I guess, you to form your organization and your organization to decide to fight for the cause?
The African People's Socialist Party is it's a party that believes in the self-determination of African people and the liberation of African people worldwide. And within that consciousness of fighting for the liberation of African people, the Cuba question comes directly in the center of it. If a big part of the consciousness of this movement is the role that Haiti has played in for African people worldwide, and for us historically, we know that the things that Haiti has been going through, kidnapping of its presidents, economic embargoes, being forced, France forcing Haiti to pay monies back to them, all of these things, when one understands history, is the same things that Cuba is going through right now. So if someone in this African conscious movement, we understand Haiti, and if you understand Haiti, then you understand what Cuba is going through. And then on top of that, within this movement for people who are fighting for the liberation and unification of Africa, we also understand Cuba comes again into the question because it is Cuba who had showed practical support for African liberation movements around the world, you know. And I mean, when I say practical support, there are countless political parties, progressive political parties in the 70s, in the 80s, early 90s, who can attest to the fact that Cuba would have been the country, not one small little island in the Caribbean that was supporting them. That would have been governments of Grenada, all kind of third world governments all over the world. And if it wasn't for Cuba, people know, I think Nelson Mandela himself would have said, if it wasn't for Cuba aiding us in our struggle against the whites down in Southern Africa, the whole of Southern Africa would have been run by apartheid. So just the very consciousness of knowing, fighting for African liberation, fighting for African people, you have to talk about Cuba. It's just, you just can't even talk about it properly without talking about the struggle for Cuba. So that is how I was brought to the discussion on Cuba and the Cuban Five issue.
Ambassador, have you had, you're calling on the Bahamian people and the government to support Cuba when it comes to freeing these men. Have you had discussions with Bahamian officials here, and what has their response been?
We have discussed this with the Foreign Affairs Ministry sometimes, and we have made them aware of this situation, and they have taken note of this issue, so they are aware of what is the plight of the Cuban government and the Cuban people, especially about these five young men.
And are you pleased with the response that you're getting from not only the government but the Bahamian people?
We think that the every response can be better every year, and that's why we every year around this time of the year we call for all the Bahamian people to remember that these young people are still in prison, and that that's an injustice that has to be ended. That's why we are doing this at this time of